Happy Thursday, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Therapy Thursday, and you all know every Thursday about this time I show up for Transforming Trauma podcast with Dr.
Yes.
Triphi. Come on into the room. As soon as you come, please like and share, like and share, like and share. I am so happy you all are coming in. I have a lovely guest, a returning guest. You all know her already and you love her because you know she spits some serious science from
Ooh,
that mouth of hers. Yes, so welcome, Marcia, welcome. Welcome,
ooh,
welcome,
excuse me.
welcome, welcome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know what? I,
What?
I am becoming addicted to therapy Thursday.
Yes.
I love when you send those messages out. Hey, you got time to do this? I love it.
Yeah,
I love that we get to talk and help others become free.
absolutely.
That in itself is more than a notion for me. That's more
Absolutely.
than a notion.
Yes, yes, yes. So tonight, y'all, we are talking about relationship rescue secrets. And we've got a special little saucy topic. Huh? We're talking
Yes.
about breadcrumbing. All right, you all know me. I'm Dr. Triphi. I'm a licensed psychologist in Atlanta, Georgia. Yes. I am also an advanced clinical hypnotherapist and a licensed professional counselor. All that means, I tell people, is I heal broken hearts. Hmm? My
Yes.
intention, yes, like Marcia, who is a licensed professional counselor as well as a clinical hypnotherapist and a nationally certified counselor. Our intention is to help people learn how to think better so they can feel better and they can do better. You can create the
Mm.
kind of life experience you want for yourself after you have clarified those thoughts, yeah, those feelings
Mhm.
and those behaviors. So, you all hear me talking with a little bit of an accent. I am from the nature island of the Caribbean, Dominica, not to be confused with the Dominican Republic. We love them, but they're a different country.
Mhm.
I did say country. We're an island, they're a country. They speak Spanish, we speak English and French Creole. So, Marcia, Blane, tell the people a little bit more about you, those who are meeting you for the first time tonight.
I am Marcia Blane, of course, as Dr. Trippi said, a licensed professional counselor, certified clinical hypnotherapist, a life coach, a mom, a grandmom, and a lover of healing and helping to guide others to live their authentic truth. I was sharing with a client earlier, I love being a therapist because I love to see people actually grab hold to their authentic life and then live it. We're in
Authentic.
boxes and then live it, because a lot of us are just existing. We're just here existing and think it's cool. I am an author. Let
Yes.
me throw that plug out there. I have
Yes.
a book that's going to drop September the 11th. I'm doing a virtual launch to purchase the book. I'm going to be recording some of the parts of the book so I can put them out there in my own voice.
I'm
Super
excited about
excited
that. Yes.
about that. And tonight, y'all, we going to break some bonds and get some people free from damaged relationships with themselves
Yep.
and other people.
Yes.
So thank you again, Dr. Triffy, for having me.
You
Ooh, I
are very
apologize.
welcome. You are
We
very
may have to call
welcome.
you Dr. Tripping
Okay.
tonight.
Look. So for those people who don't yet know, I have an alias. I have an alter ego, and every now and then she pops out. Huh?
Mhm.
Her name is Dr. Tripping. Huh? Because some days Dr. Triffy takes a break so Dr. Tripping can come out
Listen.
and say, "Wake up, wake up." Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's do
Mhm.
better. Let's do it right. We can fix this. Yeah. All right. So sliding back into Dr. Triffy. Tonight, I want to start with a story. All of you
Mm.
have heard this story. Hansel and Gretel. Do you all remember that story? All
Mm-hmm.
right. If you haven't remembered it, if you don't remember it, I'm going to read a little bit of it for you. I'm going to read a short version of Hansel and Gretel, and you'll see why as we start talking. So, once upon a time, Hansel and Gretel lived in a damp little cottage on the dark side of long lost wood.
Mm,
Their mother had died one frosty day, so their father had married a new wife who was not as sweet as she seemed. In fact, she was as bad as a rotten apple.
mm,
Your children eat too much, she grumbled one day to her husband as Hansel and Gretel shared a single slice of stale bread. You must lose them in the woods and let the wild creatures care for them. Their father was shocked. If I do that, the wolves will eat them, he protested. And if you don't, we will all die of hunger, snapped the nasty stepmother. Take
mm,
them away tonight. As soon as the first star shone, the children's father led them along tangled pathways to a crooked tree. My dears, he groaned, wait here while I search for firewood. Then away he stumbled back to his damp little cottage and his cruel wife. Quite soon, wolves began to howl, and the children shivered. We have walked too far, sighed Gretel. Our father is lost, and so are we. Cheer up, little sister, said Hansel with a smile. I heard our stepmother's horrid plan, so I have marked every twist of the path with
mm,
a pure white pebble. And there in the starlight, Gretel saw a line of shining stones. So the
mm,
children followed the white trail, and by sunrise they were safely home. But their stepmother's smile was as cold as winter rain. Husband, she hissed, see how your two pests torment me. Tonight you must lose them forever.
mm,
She gave each child a morsel, a little piece of stale bread. And when their father led them through the long lost wood, they followed him sadly. After many miles, he mopped his eyes and said, wait here, my dears, while I search for ripe blackberries. They knew he would never come back. But when the wolves howled, Hansel smiled and said, cheer up, little sister. This time I have scattered a trail of small white breadcrumbs.
mm,
Alas, there was no trail this time to be seen, because hungry birds had stolen every crumb. So the two children slept on a box of brown leaves, and in their dreams they saw a white dove who circled over them, calling, follow me, follow me. When they woke up in the misty morning, there was the white dove fluttering away. Let's follow her, said Hansel. Things cannot get any worse.
mm,
Almost at once, the children saw a wonderful cottage made from gingerbread and sweeties. Their mouths watered, and soon they were nibbling delicious chunks of wall and window sill. Suddenly, a sugar sweet voice said, come in, my dears, and warm yourselves. An old lady stood by the door, and the children forgot to be frightened. In they skipped, and bang went the door. They were trapped inside a witch's house.
mm,
Now her voice became as hard as a seaside rock. Got you, she cackled, locking Hansel inside an iron cage. Boy, you will grow plump and juicy. Girl, you will be my slave. Poor Hansel. The witch fattened him up until he was as round as a gobstopper. Poor
mm,
Gretel. She ate nothing but scraps from the cat's saucer. At last, the witch shrieked, girl, build up the fire. I want boy pie for my tea. I'm very sorry, said Gretel politely, but I have never cooked a boy pie before. Do you think the oven is hot enough? The witch stamped her foot and peered into the oven. It's hot, 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 she screamed. And no wonder. Gretel pushed her inside, and slammed the door. In moments, Hansel was free. The two children grabbed the witch's treasure and raced outside to find the white dove waiting for them. Of course, she led them home by the shortest way, And when their father saw them, his smile was as warm as the summer sun. Astonishingly, Hansel and Gretel's horrible stepmother had vanished that very day,
Mm.
while all that remained of the wicked witch was one smoky gingerbread biscuit. The end. The end.
Resilience and escape.
Oh, y'all, what do you remember about Hansel and Gretel? And as I read this story, what I really want you to focus on is the breadcrumbs. Ooh, my heart felt sad for them.
Hmm.
They had made their little plan and they thought everything was going to be okay with the breadcrumbs. But instead, the breadcrumbs were all eaten up.
Hmm.
What does bread signify for us in life? Bread is like food,
Hmm.
sustenance, life, breadcrumbing. That's where that word comes from.
Hmm.
You have your little hopes that those breadcrumbs will lead to
Hmm.
something positive. Instead, in Dominica, we do this.
Hmm.
You think you're going to get something instead.
Mm.
Hmm? So, what is breadcrumbing, therapist Marcia Blane? What is breadcrumbing about?
So, breadcrumbing is when an individual breaks you off little pieces to entice you to continue being around them. You not seeing their abuse or the trickery. But I'm going to take that a little step further.
Mhm.
Hansel had to learn to survive.
Yes, he did.
He had to find ways to be protective of he and his little sister. But he wasn't old enough and wise enough to know the dangers of dropping the breadcrumbs. When someone breadcrumbs you, it's not much different from narcissism. They can make you feel small.
Mm.
They can make you feel like they're into you and then turn it around and ghost you. They can make you feel like you are not enough for them. Their ultimate goal is to see how far they can take you in the woods and not leave a trail of where you are.
So you mentioned some big words in there like narcissistic
Hmm.
people. You also said ghosting. What is ghosting, first off?
So, ghosting is a new term of being ignored,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I saw a meme the other day that said, "This is how we ghosted people back in the 70s and 80s. We took the phone off the hook and just left it off the hook." Exactly. And now what happens is someone will give you one or two liner, you're really into them, they make you think that they're into you, and then silence, nothing, no action, no response. So then you get in your head thinking, I did it again.
Mm,
I ran somebody off again.
yeah,
I'm
I did
not good
something
enough again.
wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm. And
yes.
then narcissism, we probably need to run that tape back, the video back when we did narcissism, because it's so much in narcissists. Narcissists are individuals who believe that they are better than everyone else. And a lot of it has to do with their own insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier to point at you and make you feel like you're nothing so that they can feel uplifted. They make you feel guilty
Yeah.
for wanting to leave them. Breadcrumbers do too. They're not as extreme as narcissists, but they're
Mhm.
very close.
So what you're saying is many narcissistic people might have a propensity towards using breadcrumbing in their relationships with you, with
That is
us.
correct. Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm. So I'm hearing too that breadcrumbing is like stringing a person along,
Hmm.
giving them just enough to keep them hooked.
Absolutely. And think about it. If mommy is baking a cake or a pie,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you want some of that pie. And she says, only if you do this. And every time she opens the oven and you smell this pie and you go back, is it ready
Mm,
yet? Is it
mm,
ready yet? And you're constantly being pulled into the aroma, pulled into mommy loves me enough
yeah.
to give me this pie. And then when you get there, there's no pie.
So that's the hook. The whiff of the pie is the hook
Absolutely.
that brings you back. You know, in psychology too, there's a thing in behavior psychology where if
Mm-hmm.
you give somebody the promise, oh, I'm going to give you something, and if you do give it to them every now and then, at a variable schedule, meaning they don't know when you're going to give it to them, but every now and then you might give them some real affection or real
Mm-hmm.
attention, then they really become almost addicted. Like the brain becomes addicted to that kind of pattern. When you look at mice who, if you feed the mice regularly, like morning, noon, and night,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
mice are fine. They don't do anything crazy when the food shows up. But
Mm-hmm.
if you give them the food at a kind of schedule where they're not sure if they're going to get food today, they're not sure what time, then whenever that food shows up, they're like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that's what that does.
The children of Israel, they were breadcrumbed because
Mm,
they gave into the fear. You brought us out here with no plan.
yes,
You allowed us to get trapped in the wilderness.
yes.
So you had all the fear mongers dropping breadcrumbs. Be gluttonous, eat it all. When we open up the heavens and the food come down, and then it got moldy
Mm,
because we stayed in it too long. That's what happens in relationship. When
mm-hmm.
we stay in it too long, we become moldy, we become stale, we become unrecognizable of who we actually are because we become consumed in just wanting to be wanted.
So in a relationship like that, where it is so unpredictable, if a person is not cautious, if they're not minding their business, so to speak, they can
Mm-hmm.
stay in it too long, and then
Mm-hmm.
it becomes
Mm-hmm.
moldy. Yeah, very
Stinky.
painful. Very
Mm-hmm.
painful. Very
And
painful.
that's where that pain comes from because you know, or maybe you don't. I got grandchildren, and they're
Yeah,
going through that stage of mercy, not
yeah.
even musty. They just mercy. And when I pick them up from school, and it's like, okay, who musty today? That's how bad relationships smell,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
How that aroma of pulling you in, isolating you, and then dropping you.
yeah,
That's how that is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. So in real life now, in real life, what might that look like? I'm guessing a person might send you a text, they're hot and heavy today. They
Mm-hmm.
send you a text, and it's not any kind of deep text. The
Mm-hmm.
kind of text like, hey, that what you doing? That WYD.
Yeah, exactly. Oof.
What you doing?
Come on, grown people.
Yeah.
Don't respond to those WYD texts.
You heard what the
Don't
therapist said? Do
don't
not
respond to those.
respond to those WYD texts. Why? Why
Because
not?
here's the truth. Grown people have conversations. If you hadn't talked to me in days or weeks and you send me a WYD, I'm
Yeah.
going to ignore you like you've ignored me because I'm going to keep my power and my head
So
in the
I'm
same
hearing
spot.
so I'm hearing another tactic that breadcrumbers use
Mm-hmm.
where they do not reach out consistently. So you might have gone out on a date with a person, or this could be somebody that you've been dating,
Mm-hmm.
steadily, and there is no consistent communication.
Mm-hmm. And they always make you feel like you're the reason why they haven't consistently communicated. Oh, I be busy.
Right,
You know I got work. Why this is why I don't like to do anything because you be sweating
right,
me about my time.
right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, why you getting on me?
Right.
You should know better. You should know that I am a busy person.
Mm-hmm.
Don't expect me to always be by my phone.
But I like you though.
But you know, you're the one. You're the one for me.
Ain't nobody else on my mind. You know,
You know, you're the
yeah.
main one. You know, you're the
Don't
main one.
you don't have to sweat me, girl. I got you. Boy, I got you.
But what does that do though to the person on the receiving end of that?
It gives them false hope.
Emotionally. Yeah.
It gives them false
Also,
hope that they're desired and that they're chosen.
yeah.
The last time we spoke, we talked about that belongingness,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the five tiers of Maslow's hierarchy is feeling like you're loved and you belong. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're an individual who grew up without having people to make you feel like you belonged,
Mm-hmm.
all it takes is one person making you think that you belong. Because if you think about it, dads would tell their daughters, need to be careful about them slick boys because they don't want number one thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But dad didn't tell their daughters that they belonged,
Yeah.
that they loved on them. And so they made them available for this manipulative personality.
Mm.
Your truth is, breadcrumbers like narcissists have very low self esteem.
You know, I want you to talk more about that because I think many people who act in that way would tell you, heck no, hell no, I am not, I do not have low self esteem. I'm an, most narcissistic people present with a very out there kind of
Mhm.
posture. They're very, hey, there's a posture of I'm confident, I got this. So you're
And if
saying,
you tell a narcissist,
uh,
seems to me like you have low self esteem, you know what they're going to do?
what?
They're done with you
Why?
because you called them on their stuff. You actually hit them at their deficit.
Yeah.
The reason why they walk in this pompous mindset is because they were, and a lot of times it starts in childhood
Mm-hmm.
where you have to fight for attention, you have to fight for belonging, and they never want to feel like they felt when they weren't seen.
One of those basic needs of,
Mm-hmm.
of belongingness. So they missed out on that themselves
Mm-hmm.
too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so once they heard the cheers and the jeers for them,
Yeah.
once people saw them, oh man, you're so smart,
Yeah.
you're so handsome, you're so beautiful, it pumped them up. And so now the thing that they hated to hear the most about not belonging, they actually impose that on others,
Mm.
especially someone who hasn't broke free of low self-esteem.
So okay. So in my experience, many breadcrumbers will also be people, not just men.
Mm-hmm.
There might be a higher percentage of men because more men than
Mm-hmm.
female people
Mm-hmm.
are fall in that narcissistic group,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Except
But
for mommies. Remember, mothers are
uh,
the number one narcissist.
yeah, that's
So
right.
it probably balances out between men and women.
Yeah,
Women are just smoother with it.
they come at you
We'll talk
around
to you about
around the way.
that.
They come to you around the way.
Exactly. Because women, and I see it so often in domestic violence situations, women know how to pull you in,
Mm,
make you feel like you're everything, drop you, and then call the authorities on you.
yeah.
That's
Oof,
breadcrumbing.
oof. Many of these sorts of people will keep many people on the hook, on
Absolutely.
that breadcrumbing
Hmm.
hook.
Hmm.
And are you suggesting that's because of what? Like a need to fill up
Their
these
need to
little,
feel important, that low self-esteem. Think about if you ever had to interact with the mean girls in school. The mean girls always targeted individuals with low self-esteem worse than theirs
right, right,
because
right.
all they cared about is was the aesthetics and
Yeah,
getting attention. That was the only way that they felt like, and a lot of people felt like they were something, and a lot of people wanted to be a part of the popular group.
yes.
So those that want to be a part of the popular group and were invited to be a part of that popular group, they had to learn how to lift this leader up, even though they didn't like things that they did, in
Right.
order to not become an actual victim to the group.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Same process.
Yeah.
Breadcrumbing can look like so many different things. It could look like your boss on the job who uses you for all of your skills and abilities, dropping these little breadcrumbs to make you go, what else you need? What else you need?
Right.
And then
Like
they
maybe like a promise of a promotion,
drop.
promise of a raise.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because they have low self esteem. And
Yeah.
if too many people are complimenting you, I'm going to draw you in, and then I'm going to drop you to make you feel like you're not enough.
Yeah.
Happens in sibling relationships, it
Hmm.
happens in intimate relationships, it happens in parenting relationships, it happens on the job, it happens among a group of associates. I'm very cautious about using the word friend
Hmm.
because we throw that word out too easy, right? And most of us don't know what friend is.
Yeah.
And so breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And you're looking for an out and there's no trail.
Mm. Okay, so in the dating, I want to bring it towards dating relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I know these days a lot of our dating is online.
Mm-hmm.
How might that play out for somebody right now who's dating online? What does that kind of pattern look like?
So, one of the things that I am a big proponent of is you have to be so in tune to you
Mm,
before you actually get on these websites. You have to know your worth. A lot of you all saw my TikTok the other day, know your worth and add tax. You have to know your worth because on those sites, everybody is looking at aesthetics.
mm-hmm,
I remember years ago um, on one of those sites, I think Big Beautiful Black Women or some crap like that. And
mm-hmm.
a guy said to me, um, man, you got a beautiful face, but you're bigger than what I like. And I said, that's amazing to me that you even thought to look for someone extremely small on a Big Beautiful website.
Right.
Number one. Number two, I said it speaks volumes about your low self esteem. You're only here so that you can actually tear down the
Right.
women on this site. But I got something for you. While my face may be beautiful and my butt may be big, I'm pretty sure you have a lot of complaints about how you can't handle yourself in the bedroom. He
Yeah.
blocked me because I hit him with where
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
You have got to build yourself up.
Yeah.
Even if you're not dating online,
Yeah.
listen, when you walk out of your door, you need to be the one that has paid yourself the highest compliment.
Absolutely.
You need to understand your worth and your value. You can love people, you can accept people, but if people are actually tearing you down to make themselves look better, then we got to talk about your worth. Yeah,
You
I.
know, one
Mhm,
of the way I like to come at a thing like that, a person says, "Yes, I like you, but I would have preferred if you were like whatever, whatever, whatever."
mhm.
Thank you so much. You have every right. You have every
That's
right.
Dr. Triphi. That's not Dr. Tripping. Okay, go ahead.
You have every right to your preference, but I'm completely comfortable with who I
Mhm,
am. So
mhm.
at this point it seems as if we are not a good match.
See, and see, Marcia, y'all, this is Marcia. This is the persona. But see, this is how she would have responded. If I'm correct, you actually sent me a message.
Yes.
I didn't come for you. You came for me. So who's actually desperate here?
You know what
Well,
I'm
they don't
saying?
like that either.
They don't like it.
Because the truth is the only way a narcissistic breadcrumbing individual can really get to you is if you have been already telling yourself the same stuff that they're telling you.
That's right. That's right.
If they are tapping into your low self-esteem, if they are manipulating you because you want so desperately to belong and fit in,
Mm-hmm.
what have you been telling yourself? How have you made yourself vulnerable? And don't get me wrong, I am not blaming you for that posture. My
Yeah.
goal is to help you to actually build yourself up so that you can really thrive in a relationship with yourself, and then others that are gifted to be in your presence because you're thriving in a relationship with yourself, they get the gift.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh man. And I think it's an understanding too that your person is going to
Mhm.
be appreciative of you and be completely in love with everything about you as you are. So that means whomever it is that's coming to you, however much you're feeling for them, that's
Mhm.
not your compatible mate. You're not compatible because they're telling you you are not who they want. They put you on
Mhm.
the fact that they're saying you've got a pretty face, but you've got a you do it, but if you were 20 pounds lighter, yes. That means I am not your person because I am not yet. I am not 20 pounds lighter.
Mhm.
I am
Mhm.
me. So you got to go.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to check them off. Anytime someone comes to you, even if you all have been 6 months to a year in, and now they're dropping hints of how you need to change. Oh,
Yeah.
you put on a couple of pounds. I didn't want that person.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you got me. And since you don't want me, I want me enough
Yeah.
to see you later.
Yeah.
Because the thing about narcissistic breadcrumbing individuals, they'll pull you in. They don't immediately start ghosting you.
Hmm.
They don't immediately start ignoring you. They have to actually know how much of you they can take. And in that taking, all of a sudden, you'll see the signs that you're being led into the woods, but you don't have any pebbles to drop.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got bread to
Yeah.
drop, and your bread isn't sticking around because it's feeding somebody else.
So that clarification of your who am I? What do I want in a relationship? I want A, B, C, D, E. What will I not tolerate? What is too much for me? We have to clarify those things first.
Mhm.
So we have the way out of the woods.
But people are afraid to do that. I have my clients making three categories. Your absolutes. I absolutely have to have this in a relationship. My
Mhm.
absolute not. I will not tolerate
Yeah.
this in a relationship, and my flexibilities.
Mm.
Your
My give or take.
absolutes. Exactly. My absolutes. I will not stray
Yeah.
away from this. I don't care how good you look, how good
Right.
you feel, any of this. I will not stray away.
Yeah.
If for me, effective communication is key, I will not tolerate ghosting.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Excuse
That
me.
means we are not compatible. A
Mhm.
person who ghosts me, if having consistent communication is a must for me, as it ought to be, really, as it is for most healthy relationships.
Mhm.
Consistent communication it seems to fit with most healthy relationships. To not
Mhm.
have that means this person is already setting me up for
Yes.
a painful experience where I'll be very frustrated, very upset. They're not calling me when I
Mhm.
think they should be calling me. I have to beg for communication.
Mhm. All of that. I was talking to someone about weight loss and getting healthy and things of that nature, and she said, "My guy doesn't want me to lose any more weight, but I know I need to so that I'm not diabetic and
Mm,
I can shake off the high blood pressure and I can have a longer life."
yeah.
And I said, "That's interesting." She said, "Why?" I said, "So what I hear you saying is he wants you to love him to death."
Yes.
She
Did she
said,
hear that? How did she hear it? Did she
she,
hear it?
she said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, he wants you to love him to your death."
Yeah.
Because if someone encourages out of their low self-esteem to not lose weight
Mm-hmm.
because they may be afraid that somebody else may be attracted to you or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's a red flag.
Mm-hmm.
Because why wouldn't they want you to be healthy? You said your goal is to have longer life, right?
Hmm. So
Then, mhm,
okay, so you've come upon so everybody has men.
mhm,
Let's say men. Men have their eyes, their brains are wired for whatever they like. So some men like very thin women,
mhm.
some men like very voluptuous, very thick, whatever women. So there, it seems like what they came upon was his desire for a thicker woman and her desire for her health. So they had to now negotiate as a couple which of these values are we going to keep as the higher value, essentially, my life
Mm.
or my looks.
And the thing about it is if you're confident in who you are, there
Yeah.
is no negotiation
Yes.
between your life and
Yes. And
your
anything
looks.
else.
Yeah, exactly. Because the truth is if it's your goal to love you in a healthy body,
Yeah.
then there is no reason for you to not be healthy.
Yeah.
If you are in a situation, in a relationship where someone is causing you to question your own moral aptitude,
Mm-hmm.
if they are challenging you to not love you as much as them,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, no.
Ah, that's where a person's asking you to be a zero so they can be a 10. You gotta
Exactly. You want me to become small
yeah.
so you can feel big. I when I was married to the preacher,
Yeah.
I remember him saying to me, "You can't take any more speaking engagements because people aren't inviting me." That was my look too. I said,
Yeah.
"Excuse me, say what?"
Yeah.
And when you do speaking engagements, you need to introduce me and let me come up before the people.
Oh wow.
I said, "Nah, kind of doesn't work like that because they didn't contact you."
Yeah.
And
Oh
then
wow.
he went into the role of, "Well, I'm your pastor." I said,
Oh.
"Nah, you my husband. What you won't do is put me in a box." Of course, the divorce didn't last and we left because I am my own person.
Yes.
When I was a kid and a preteen, I battled with self esteem.
Mm-hmm.
But what I knew is when no one else could love me, I had to love me.
Yeah.
I had to choose me. So, what you see is the ability to actually deconstruct all of the negative stuff you told yourself and the negative stuff people told you about your worth in
Mm.
order to pull away from these breadcrumbing situations.
Yeah. So you're mentioning some red flags.
Hmm.
You're mentioning some red flags. Can you talk a little bit more about that before we take a few questions?
Absolutely. So,
Mm.
some of the red flags could look like, of course, the ghosting,
Yes.
belittling, and then pulling you back in with one compliment,
Mm-hmm.
being able to see manipulation. They are volatile, right?
Emotionally. And
Emotionally and
yeah.
sometimes physically.
Mm-hmm.
There is betrayal
Mm-hmm.
that can come up. There are isolations where when you get dressed to go out with your friends and you're looking cute, your breadcrumber won't like that because you're going to get more attention
Mm-hmm.
than them. When your breadcrumber suggests that you dress a certain way that's outside of your norm because they want you to not be cute
Right,
or
not be
beautiful.
too, not shine too bright, essentially. One question here is, does that mean they use these kinds of behaviors to compensate for their low self-esteem?
Absolutely. It's like a check in the bank. If
Mm.
I can lower your self esteem and make myself seem higher, I
Yeah,
just cashed the check. And so it's giving them this false boost.
yeah,
So, say for example, a breadcrumber has you on their hook
yeah,
and they've been out trying to catch others,
yes,
and those others have rejected them.
yes.
Guess what they're going to do?
They
Their
come right back.
self-esteem
Yeah, goes
has
down.
been withdrawn.
Hmm.
Now they need a deposit
They come back.
to make them feel like they're back up. So
Yeah,
they're coming to you.
yeah. And that's when you're having the long conversations, the love bombing, right? Where
Yes.
you are the best thing since sliced bread, but they haven't
Mm-hmm.
called you for 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
And
suddenly they
show
want
up
to
thinking that
dominate
everything
your
is
time.
normal.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And you accept it.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my boo. We need to cut out
Exactly.
all of that.
Yeah.
We really need to love us enough to where it's not so easy to be
You know, I
manipulated.
want what I've learned over time for
Mm-hmm.
myself and for many clients is to encourage, especially women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the especially women. If the behavior leads to you feeling any kind of pain, anxiety, you waiting for the
Mm-hmm.
phone to ring, you look at your phone 20 times because you thought, oh, they should have responded to my text by now, to my
Mm-hmm.
email by now.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard from them in two
Mm-hmm.
days, 5 days. Is
Mm-hmm.
something wrong? What's going on here? All of that is pain. All of
Yes.
that is pain,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know? And so if you understand that that is painful and you stop dismissing your pain as if
Mm.
like, oh, it's okay. As soon as they call, of course, the rush of emotion and the
Mm-hmm.
dopamine hits your brain. So you start thinking, oh, I'm back to, we're back. They see they called. It's okay. It's okay. They
Mm-hmm.
called. Forgetting that 2 days ago you could barely go to sleep because your heart was longing for them, but they
Mm-hmm.
were unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
think if we can use those markers, the pain in your body is a marker that this behavior is not good for you. Especially
Mm-hmm.
for women, let me tell you, when you see your body goes through so much stress, high cortisol, okay?
And then your belly get fat from that
Right.
cortisol.
Yeah, and then they're still fussing at you because your belly is fat. Meanwhile, they're the ones stressing you out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
With this unpredictable behavior. Think about it, the unpredictability. You're not knowing whether they're coming or they're going. One day they're hot, next day they're cold. You can't build a relationship like that because it's almost as if you're starting over every time you talk to them again. There's no building. There's no, okay, this is what we're doing together. There's no clarity, but there's enough
Exactly.
attention they give you to keep you in the stable
So
or in the
then my question is, who are you in the relationship then?
exactly.
What's your identity? Where do you fit? Let's talk about how you got to that point where you allow yourself to be treated like that.
Yes, that's powerful. That's very important. So yes, let's stay there for a little bit. Let's stay there for a little bit.
Okay. In that place, a lot of times in relationships, people get lost
Hmm.
in relationships. I'm seeing a lot of people that have been married 25, 30 years that are ready for a divorce
Hmm.
because they became lost
Hmm.
in the relationship. And in that lost state, when they woke up 25 years later, they didn't like who they were and they didn't like their mate
Right.
because they had been breadcrumbed
Yeah.
all of those years in order to believe, to feel like they needed to be needed by them, that they needed to be loved by them, that
Right.
they couldn't survive without being loved.
Yeah. And that what they were getting was enough.
Mhm.
Somebody describes it as a sort of silent bullying, which it is. It is
It is a
it
silent
is
bullying. I
emotional.
apologize. My
Yeah,
light
it's
was
fine.
falling.
It's fine. It is emotional and psychological
Mm-hmm.
bullying.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Exactly.
continue as if.
It's kind of like these lights just falling, right? You've been in these situations. I can
Yes,
make anything come into play, right?
yes.
You've been in these situations and you have been mentally screwed.
Absolutely.
For
Yeah.
years. You
Mind
were
F.
told you can't, yeah, you were told that it wouldn't look good if you got out.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to love you now that you're older.
Yeah.
You need to just go ahead and stay. And when you think about those instances of not knowing who you are,
Yeah.
think about this. How long were you not true to yourself? How long did you actually devalue yourself so that you can have a momentary faux
Yeah.
belonging?
Full belonging.
Faux
Full.
belonging. It's
Full.
not. It's
Full.
beyond false. It's
Yeah.
faux, right?
Yeah.
Because, and that's what false means, is faux. It's just
Yes.
interchange. But
Yes.
it's beyond where you were because you forgot to love you, and they knew that, so
Do you
that they
think
could
we
manipulate
forget? Do you think we forget or we choose not to so that we don't lose
you.
that little piece of that little hit? You
Mm. My truth is, I think that we never began to
know.
love ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because, unfortunately, in Western civilization, to love yourself means you're selfish.
That's a lot of people have come to describe it like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But loving yourself is selfless because as you love yourself and you take on ownership and accountability for yourself,
Yeah.
you then don't have to be subject to a breadcrumber or a narcissist because you feel good about yourself. So, an answer to your question is oftentimes they hadn't started, so they couldn't forget.
Yeah.
But along the way,
Yeah.
being able to develop an identity because they're finally sick and tired of being sick and tired. You know how old people say you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that's when you
Right.
make the changes. That's
Right.
when the changes occur.
So
Is when you're.
we
Hmm.
must be willing to be courageous. We must be willing to take responsibility.
Hmm.
There is no excuse for ignorance or not knowing. You know, you can say, "Oh, I didn't know they were a breadcrumber." Yeah, that's the word for it. But you didn't have to know that was a
That
thing
term.
to
Hmm.
know that your body felt so uncomfortable when they
Exactly.
didn't call you back. When they said, "I'm going to call you," you look up, it's 2 weeks later, and your phone is still there blank.
You know, when you think about the biblical definition of love, love is kind, love is merciful, love is present. There is nothing in there that says love hurts.
Exactly.
It does say it doesn't fail, but it
Yes.
doesn't say it hurts.
Yeah.
When you are encountering situations about relationship, you can't have a positive relation outside of you until you have a positive relationship inside
Within you.
of you.
Yes. Yes.
Because in that, if that's the situation, what you're doing is saying you're not enough to
Yeah.
better you. And the only way that you're better is because of somebody else being there. And so you
Mistake.
have to take
Yeah.
how they treat you. You
Mistake.
have to bow down to
Yeah.
that manipulation.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm saying tonight is a night if you are in that position to be courageous.
Oh
Take
my
a risk.
goodness. Yes,
Be courageous. Take a risk on yourself. You know, take a risk that you can love yourself and you
mm,
can love yourself enough to not just be happy with yourself. Let's suppose you
absolutely.
had to say no to that person, but also because this self is enough to say yes
Whew,
to a relationship that feels good. But it's
yes.
got to feel good for you, or else what is the point of it?
Well, let me ask this question. If you did a self assessment tonight to our audience, would you be able to say that you treat yourself well?
Respectfully,
Do you
kindly.
love yourself
Yeah,
well?
yeah,
And if you can't say that, that's where you need to start.
yeah, Yeah.
Because if you try to start, I just need somebody, I just need somebody in my life, I just want to have somebody, I don't like being alone. Start being alone and satisfied with you,
Yeah.
because your hope and prayer should be that that person that's supposed to be in your life has worked on their stuff too,
Yeah.
so that they're not bringing garbage to you.
And I think what as I'm speaking, I'm thinking to myself, it's not as if relationships won't have moments of suffering.
Absolutely.
There are periods of suffering. Everybody understands this because
Hmm.
we are human beings. What I'm saying is, at the very least, we cannot start off with one person calling every 2 days. That's when you call, but you're saying, I want to do something positive with you.
Hmm.
That doesn't add up. And we have
Exactly.
to be willing to see those things on the front end,
Hmm.
as opposed to, stay on the hook, because it is what you're saying, very
It really.
disrespectful to yourself to
Hmm.
allow yourself to stay on somebody's hook. That is so degrading.
It is, and it's the meaning of yourself. One of the reasons why I have my clients to write down their absolute knots and flexibilities is so
Hmm.
that they can establish their boundaries. When you have established standards in your life,
Yeah.
the moment that you see those red flags, the moment that that ghosting begins to happen and your absolute is communication,
Hmm.
that's your permission to step away.
Yeah.
Because when you don't, you've just taught them how to treat you. And then you get angry because they're treating you the way that you allowed them to treat you.
You're basically you're saying yes by
Mhm,
continuing to participate. And
mhm,
that piece, when I was a young person, I that was hard for me to see how I was participating
mhm,
in that.
mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So
And
this question, go ahead.
okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
This question from Winsty is that he saw this in a friend and literally had to run. Maybe he ran late, because initially he thought he could fix it. He could help fix that kind of behavior.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
can somebody like this change? Do people
Somebody,
like
it's possible for them to change, but what you want to identify for yourself is who you are to you. A lot of times we latch on to people because Dr. Triphi and I were talking about this earlier. When you're an empath, you have this thing that you want to fix people, you want to see them better, you want them to be whole.
Yeah.
But in those situations, 9 times out of 10, they can't see that they're the issue.
Yeah.
Everybody else is the issue. I don't believe in unreciprocated relationships. I believe that everybody needs to bring something to the table, especially if you all are in that quote unquote friend status. Your friend status is just as important as your intimate status.
Mm.
They need to bring something to the table where it's reciprocated. If you're always giving, and you know the kind of people, they always find ways to manipulate you to do things that they want to do, to ignore your requests, your needs, to make you feel guilty when you say no. All of those kind of things. You have to ask yourself, what do I bring to this table, and what do they bring to this table? If I'm bringing the meat, can they handle the sides?
You said some things really fast there, but they're really powerful when it comes to maintaining relationships in a
Hmm.
healthy way. The research, right, shows that couples who, if one makes a bid, if one says something like, man, today was such a long day, my feet hurt.
Hmm.
If the other one pays attention and maybe
Hmm.
comes back with a, oh, I'm so sorry,
Hmm.
right? You want me to rub your feet for you tonight? These kinds of couples versus couples who one says, man, it was a long day for me today. The other one says, oh, it was long for me too. Or, or it's long for everybody. That kind
Hmm.
of thing is where you
Hmm.
refuse your partner the opportunity for you to support them.
Exactly, exactly. And so when you're dealing with someone like that, You have to first ask yourself, are your needs in the relationship being met? And two, are your actions and activities being reciprocated? It's
Mm,
not that you're playing tit for tat,
mm-hmm.
but your mate should absolutely be in tuned to your needs, your desires, your wants
More often than not.
more often than not. Now, the true reality is there are going to be some no's.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
just the real reality. There's going to be some no's because sometimes there just have to be no's. But if your partner is in tune to you,
Yeah,
they won't abuse you, they won't manipulate you,
yeah.
they won't take away from your moment of tiredness, they won't take away from your moment of frustration the same way you won't take it away from them.
So what can a couple do? So we have one partner where, yes, this is ideal, but in
Mhm.
my relationship right now, every time I talk to my mate and I basically
Mhm.
ask for support, I
Mhm.
get something negative. What can you offer that person? What would you suggest?
So, one of the things that I suggest is get to your list.
Hmm.
Honey, here are some things that I need from you.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to discuss what those needs are because every time you push me in a different direction and you wonder why I have an attitude, it's because you aren't addressing that need. And you're blatantly disrespecting that need.
I
So
feel you.
you have to have the courage to
Yeah.
have that conversation, but you have to start with knowing what you actually want.
Yeah. Oof. You
Mhm.
know, these kinds of conversations, they're very painful, and very often we offend each other as we're talking, but we have to be willing to do that to
Mhm.
get to wrestle with the parts of the relationship that are not working so that
If
we
the relationship is important to
exactly.
you,
Yeah.
you have value in your significant other and they have value in you,
Yeah.
they're going to listen
Yeah.
when you say to them, "This is what I need,"
Yeah.
and then vice versa,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You have those open arenas of conversation. Now, the other part is being able to say, so what does this relationship mean to you?
What are we doing together?
What are we doing together? What are we building?
Yeah.
Because if I'm running around, for example, I'm asthmatic, there are certain things that would trigger me into an asthmatic situation.
Yeah.
If you ignore that I'm asthmatic, the message to me is you don't care.
Yeah.
So you're going to watch me cough myself
Yeah.
in an uncomfortable position.
Mm.
Well, my message is I need to go ahead and leave you alone. Doesn't matter how long, because now you're not considering me when I've been considering you.
So we have to be willing to talk through these things because
Got to talk through it.
sometimes this other person who's not in my body is not going
Hmm.
to know, see, sense. I have to be courageous enough when
Hmm.
I'm feeling that discomfort to say, this is what I would feel better if you would do.
Absolutely. Jackie just wrote something that caught me, and I want to jump on it real quick. She said, "So many are not emotionally available. It's a
Okay,
struggle when it's one sided." I think it was the last one.
there we go.
Here's the thing about that. Even prior to getting into a relationship, it's important to talk about that emotional availability.
Yes. As in what feels comfortable for you, what your boundaries are, what I need to make me feel
Exactly.
good. Okay. Okay.
But more importantly, you have to talk about that person's past. What was their childhood like? How was their relationship with mom and them, dad and them, brother, sister and them, the neighborhood and them, all of them?
Yeah.
Because that is going to tell you their truth.
Yeah.
People become emotionally unavailable when their voices were suppressed very early in life.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you see as emotionally unavailable, they see as a protective mode.
Coping, their way to cope
Mhm.
with stress and anxiety when it shows up. Yeah.
And so your message has to be delivered in a way that it doesn't appear attacking or
Hmm.
aggressive
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Me,
that defensive. Hmm.
I say set, ask for an appointment, ask for time, number one.
Hmm.
Say make the other person right for what you think they're doing wrong, as in I understand this is how you see it, or
Hmm.
I can see how you think about it that way, but when you do it that way, I feel whatever
Hmm.
the emotion is. What do you think about trying it like this instead, and can I help you do that?
And one of the things I remind people is take away that you,
Yes.
take it that way that always, take away
And
that never
yeah, yeah,
out of your conversation, because
yeah,
those three words will automatically put you in a defensive position.
yeah,
Your ultimate goal is making sure that your voice is heard to the partner.
yeah, it goes through, the words go
Mhm.
through. Yeah.
And so when you're dealing with someone that is emotionally unavailable,
Hmm.
you have to begin to identify what message do I want them to understand about me. Because if
Hmm.
you're already in it, you're married and all that kind of stuff, you're not
I
going to
was
eat
about to say, I was about to say that's for the people who they're already in it, as opposed to they're looking and they're contemplating. Because when you're looking and you're observing before you say yes, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be cautious and decide, do I want to say yes to that for the rest of
Exactly.
my life? Yeah.
Exactly. And so when you're already in it, you then have to identify the words that work to get their attention
That
and
person.
get them involved in the conversation.
Yes, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And the reason why that's so important is if you come to them about something that is aggressive, where they feel like they're going to be attacked, they've already checked out. I tell women all the time, stop saying, "Hey, we need to talk." Because
Yeah.
men have this sixth sense, like, here we go again.
Yeah. It's hard
But
on them.
if you go in and you say, "Babe, I kind of miss us having conversations. Got a few minutes, or when would be a good time?"
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
you learn to utilize for women the finesse
Hmm.
that you have of being a softer creature
Hmm.
and being able to engage in those conversations. But before you engage, make sure you've assessed yourself
Hmm.
to where you're not at a point of easily being defensive, because then you have no conversation.
Yeah.
See, I knew if you wanted to have this conversation and I told my truth, you was gonna get mad like you doing, and then you're gonna shut down and your nose gonna spread and yada 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 yada. So
Yeah.
then he was right.
Yeah.
But if you do your self-assessment, where am I? I'm about to bring up a conversation of uncleanliness.
Yes.
Where am I?
Yeah.
How am I gonna feel if he say, well, you do it too?
Yeah.
Can I respond and say, you know what, you're right. Let us work on being more clean.
Hmm.
Let us work on being less reactive and practicing that 10-second breathing before responding. Let us, right?
Mm.
Because I've taken the you out
Yeah.
and I've made it about us, even
Yeah.
though, I mean, my truth is I may not, I'm a Virgo, y'all, so don't take this no kind of way. I may not have an issue because, Virgos think we perfect and all. But when we use us, it drops the fence of defensiveness
Hmm.
and lowers a person to a place where they can be vulnerable. Now,
Mm.
the other thing that I know that people do, I want to say women do a lot, but I know it happens on both sides. You can't take those vulnerable moments and throw it back in their face
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
because they'll never trust you again. They'll
Yeah.
never trust you with their truth and their vulnerability.
The tender parts of them. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we have to watch that. We have to really watch that if we say we want relationships that work. Because some of us, I think, we just want to say we're in a relationship.
Woo, woo. Let's talk about
You know what
that.
I mean?
Let's talk about
There's a
the
big
people.
difference.
And it is because I hear people want to get married, but all they want is a wedding. They don't
Yeah.
want a relationship.
Ooh,
Relationships take work.
absolutely.
If you don't remember anything else, you're taking two people, two different backgrounds, two different experiences. You're intertwining them to each other,
Mm,
hopefully to make a hook together,
yeah.
and then they begin to grow together. But if you take two different people, two different backgrounds, two different mindsets about relationship, you don't get a hook, you get a tap in. And it's an easy pull away.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to ask the question,
Hmm.
what do you want in a relationship? But you have to be willing to answer that too. You have to be willing to do a self assessment for you.
Yeah.
I do one every day. What did I do to honor me today?
Yeah.
How did I demean myself today? Because, every now and then we'll say something to ourselves and we have to catch it.
Yeah.
How can I change it for better tomorrow?
Yeah.
That's Marcia's self assessment every day because I recognize that if I can assess me and be real and say, you know what, you kind of tripped out
Yeah.
today, be real with that, own that, take accountability for that, then I can go forward and move in my next step. I can then tell people how to treat me because I've worked on me
Yeah.
in relationship, especially if you're in the dating phase, going out online or meeting people in person. Make sure that you are one ready to be in a relationship, can define what a relationship looks like to you, and not be afraid to share what type of relationship that you want.
I think it's so crucial. And the older I get, the more sense it makes to be yourself, to be your real self.
Mhm.
Meaning, I'm not putting on anything. I am who I am. I'm not playing any games.
Mhm.
If whomever I meet, that doesn't fit them, that's
Mhm.
okay because that's part of the dating experiment to
Yes.
rule people out that are not a good fit for the real me, as opposed to me coming in with a version of myself.
Mhm.
And it's so hard to really show yourself because once you start showing yourself, they might tell you, oh, you changed on me. Well, no.
Mhm.
I've been this way. I was just, sometimes you can pretend, you know what I mean? You reel the person in with one face,
Mm.
knowing
Mm.
full well the other you have the other side over there, you
I
know.
just tell people, here's what I know for sure. The only thing that life guarantees is life and death. Don't live your life in a mask.
Yeah,
Be your authentic, true self.
yeah.
The person that is supposed to be in your life that has been purposely and wondrously designed for you, they're going to find you.
Ellie, okay, they'll leap over walls for you as
They're
you
going to find
are.
you.
As you are,
Hmm.
5 pounds less, 10 pounds more. As you are.
Exactly. And you don't have to win them over. You don't have to impress them
No.
because when their heart knows, they know.
Yeah,
When your heart knows,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
You have to decide that you are worth the heartbeat.
Yes, yes. You, as you are, you.
Mhm.
Somebody asked, what do you do when it's your parents that's doing the breadcrumbing?
Whew. This is becoming one of my favorite, you know, conversations about parents and their toxicity.
Hmm.
When your parents are the ones that's breadcrumbing, you have to ask yourself who you are in relationship to them. I know. It's hard to pull away
Mm-hmm.
from your parents because they're your parents.
Mm-hmm.
But the parent that you are experiencing isn't the umbilical cord parent. It is not the
Comes a time.
connected.
There comes a
It
time. Yeah.
comes a time. Here's the thing, if your parents are breadcrumbing you, several things to consider. They have low self esteem. They are potentially jealous of you and your accomplishments. They don't like themselves, but
Mm-hmm.
they know they can manipulate you
Mm-hmm.
because they have convinced you that you have to honor your mother and father, for this is right in the Lord. Because that's what the Bible says. And parents have abused that for centuries. But the two verses down says,
Do not drive
parents,
your children
don't provoke your children
to
to
wrath.
wrath. If
Okay.
you're being breadcrumb, and I
Yeah.
want the person to respond to this, if you're being breadcrumbed by your parents, how many times have you gotten angry because of it?
Mm-hmm. Can only
Go
imagine.
ahead and put that in the comments.
Yeah.
The person, just how many times have you gotten angry
Yeah.
when your parents were
Yeah.
breadcrumbing you? One, one time too many. He or she said a lot.
Yeah.
Then your parents have violated that verse in the Bible. Parents don't provoke your children to wrath. Wrath
Yeah.
means anger.
Yeah.
You have to give yourself permission. If some of my clients are on here, let them know that I will have you writing down boundaries for your parents. You get a right to tell whomsoever will how to treat you.
Yeah.
Someone said honor means respect. Does it? Does it?
So
Because
here's
I
what
can
I.
honor you and not necessarily respect you.
That's right. That's right.
I can
That
honor
is
you
right.
because you're in a position as my birther, as my parent, but I don't have to respect your manipulative abuse.
Oh, listen, you just said it. You said a word here. You are my birther. That
Mm,
when you hit adulthood, literally, your mother, your father is a relative, because now you're a separate legal adult.
your cord is cut.
Yeah. Now, emotionally and psychologically, that takes longer
Hmm.
than the chronological age. We get
Hmm.
that, and
Hmm.
that's a process of letting go.
Hmm.
But the Bible tells us about individuation,
Hmm.
leaving and cleaving.
Whew.
Yeah.
And that means to yourself too. Y'all
Yes,
keep thinking about talking about marriage.
it's
You
yourself,
gotta
your
cleave to
whole
you.
self.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
that at a
goodness.
certain point with your parents, you become less mother, son, mother, daughter, almost more like peers.
Hmm.
There's got to be a shift when
And
adulthood hits.
you know how they abuse us with that? Your parent can't be your friend. I am so happy that my adult 40-year-old, my adult 34-year-old, and
Has to
my
shift.
adult 32-year-old are my friends,
Yeah,
and so are their spouses.
it's got to shift.
Because I am not in a position of parenting them. I
It's
already
got to
did
shift.
that.
Adults
I
cannot
already did
parent
that.
adults.
The
How
other
can an
thing
adult
is,
parent another adult? Why is an adult parenting another adult?
now here's the other thing. Y'all don't, I'm getting excited. Let me just say that I'm getting a little excited. When your parents decided to make whoopee, I'll keep it clean, get pregnant, and decided to give birth, you weren't there.
To this new soul. Yeah,
They made a choice
yeah.
to have sex. They made a choice to carry. They made a choice to birth. That was a choice. You had nothing to do with that choice. So this whole mindset of
Mm.
you owe your parents is BS.
You know how many parents use that as a, and it's not a physical cord anymore, the umbilical cord, but it's really it's a wrap around
It's
adult
choking.
children's necks. Yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. And
Mhm.
it is out of order once an adult becomes an
Yes.
adult. It's
Yes.
out of order.
And likewise, if your children are manipulating you to feel
Yeah,
guilty,
yeah.
to hook you in, they
The
threaten to not let
adults.
you see the grandchildren,
Yeah,
they threaten to not talk to you, and all that kind of stuff, baby, let them go about their business.
yeah.
Because the real truth is, you've done your job.
You've done the assignment. Yeah,
And if you're still being held to the stake from how you parented the best that you knew how to
yeah,
parent, then that's manipulation. You
yeah.
can only apologize for so much.
Many kids use that to really whip their parents too.
If my son was on here right now, he'll tell you my mother cut me off for 2 years, didn't talk to me, didn't breathe on me, didn't look
Yeah,
for me, didn't even attempt,
yeah,
because I know my worth
yeah,
and I charge tax.
yeah,
I refuse to be indebted to anybody for love.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, 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 no,
Because
no.
then we cause each other a lot of harm. As again, as we're figuring out life, because
Mm-hmm,
there you have we have our younger children, and some of
mm-hmm,
them can be very manipulative,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
until they wrestle and wrestle and wrestle with life to
mm-hmm.
figure out this is not the way.
Exactly,
Not the way.
exactly.
Yeah.
But if you, and I know this happens with a lot of single parents,
Mm-hmm.
as single parents, you often wear a cloak of guilt
Yes.
because the other parent chose or whatever
They did
reason why they
choose,
weren't there.
for the
Yeah,
most part, they
they
choose not
choose
to
not to be a
participate
part.
fully. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That is not your cloak to carry.
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, relationships that you get into because you weren't kept as a single mother,
Mm-hmm.
you weren't honored as that woman, you then find yourself begging to be in a relationship and belong. So you tolerate
Mm-hmm.
breadcrumbing, you
Mm-hmm.
tolerate manipulative ways and manners to break
Painful
you
behavior.
down. And
Painful.
your body aches.
Yeah.
Dr. Triphi said that
Yeah.
when you're being mis when you're being abused
Yeah.
or abnormally used,
Yes.
your body responds,
They'll tell
right?
you.
And your body could say headache,
Mm-hmm.
stomach ache,
Mm-hmm.
restlessness, crying, unhappiness,
Yeah. High blood pressure.
high blood pressure, self
Mhm.
doubt,
Yep.
right? Your body can give you all of that as signs. And you know what you do? Go drink some ginger ale and say it'll be all right.
I know. Cover it up. We cover it
Yeah.
up, many of us. It's time to stop the covering up. It is okay to be courageous
Mm-hmm.
and to feel the pain, explore why this thing is so painful, and then make different choices so that we are living well. We're
Yes.
living well. It takes a lot of courage. I mean, we're both parents here, and we've
Mm-hmm.
been single parents at
Mm-hmm.
points in
Mm-hmm.
raising our kids. So,
Mm-hmm.
with kids especially, that can be very painful
Yes.
to navigate and to renegotiate, because once that child becomes an adult, you know, you can't treat them like they were kids anymore. And we have to shift.
That's a that's a whole
a
nother
whole other
show.
show. Ooh, we'll
Parents,
do one on the single parenting one because whoa,
woo, parents, 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 parents,
yeah,
parents. You have got to give yourself permission to love you
yeah.
and stop forcing your children to love you.
I know. Oh my god.
That hurt, didn't it? I
Oh
know.
my
I'm
god.
sorry.
Oh my god.
I'm
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
sorry.
we almost want to legislate the love. You must love me because there's no such thing.
Absolutely.
There's no such thing.
Absolutely. And you're right. You should not have to accept anyone's disrespect or manipulation. And
Mm,
I know that some people may still, depending on your age, you may still live at home with your parents and things of that nature. You're going to respect the house. That doesn't mean you have to be manipulated or abused,
yeah. Or
right?
remain a child.
Ooh, yes, yes. First of all, I don't know why parents don't want to get them some business. Because if you constantly chasing your grown children, trying to
Yeah.
police them, you have no life,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
have no life. And
Well,
then,
yes. Go ahead.
and then the other thing is, and you can kind of say this, just do it the sweet Marcia way.
Hmm.
Mom, what is it about me that makes you say those things or treat
Or
me
do
that
those
way?
things. Yeah, too. Yeah. Yeah. That'll stop a mama in their tracks. That'll
Well,
force
she
them.
gonna get mad first. What you mean?
Yeah. That'll
Mom,
force a come to Jesus moment.
I notice that when you have a bad day,
Hmm.
I am usually the one that you target.
Hmm.
Can you tell me why? It's
What do
just
you mean
like
target? What do you mean target?
exactly. Well, sometimes when you've had a bad day, I could be sitting and watching a movie, not bothering anyone, and you just will find anything to begin to yell at me, and it's nothing even worth yelling. Tell me why.
Mm.
Give her or him the permission to respond,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The reason why that's so important is it takes the responsibility of making you them happy off of you by addressing what's going on with them towards you.
And perhaps takes the responsibility too from you having to try to come up with why. You're not a mind reader. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but you need clarification. You need
Mm-hmm.
understanding. Because maybe there is something I'm doing that is out of order, but I am
As
just not aware of it. So you tell me, mom. You
exactly,
transparent. Yeah.
but as well as taking the guilt and the low self worth off of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Man, I be trying to be a good child. I be trying to be good to my mom. I be trying to be good to my daddy. I just can't do good enough. But you can.
Hmm.
But you are.
Hmm.
That's not you. If you are abiding by the rules that they have for being in their house, then you're abiding by those rules. If you're being manipulated because you're in their house and you've abided by their rules, that has nothing to do with your value and worth. It
Hmm.
has everything to do with their unhappiness.
Well, now I come to the point where, well, hey, as an adult, I'm the one who still has myself in their house. Why am I in their house as an adult and I'm feeling so much pain? That pain might be inspiration now for me to create a different situation for myself.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's the thing. You have to really understand for yourself
Hmm.
that you didn't cause a pain that you're trying to cure.
Mm. So it's the communicating. Let's talk. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk. Let's talk. Let's talk through it. All right. So now I here's this person who asked, what do I do? What if it's your mom? I have some suggestions. I say
Mm-hmm.
flush them out. Like you're saying, Marcia, I say initiate that conversation so you can
Mm-hmm.
flush out the reason
Mm-hmm.
behind this kind of behavior. Put them
Exactly.
on the spot. And it's not a bad thing to put a person on the spot. You're actually clearly communicating and asking
Mhm.
real questions so you can get real answers. I think
Mhm.
in relationships, when a person is doing that, where every 2 weeks they call, or every month they call, but they're the ones telling you they're interested in you, at a certain point, when it gets to the point of irritation, where you're like, okay, you let the person know, I'm interested in a long-term committed relationship, and this doesn't fit with my standard of what that is. Use
Mhm.
clear language. Yeah. Me, I enjoy the block, a good block
I
across.
was going to say the same thing, but I wanted to make sure that I wasn't taking it too deep because I am the blocking queen.
A block across the realm, because
Listen,
you
you
got to
get to choose
decide.
your energy and your
Yes,
space.
yes.
And don't be
Isolate.
afraid to block. And if you see them walking down the street, hey, how you doing? And keep right on going.
Well, of course, because that is a very appropriate response to
Mm-hmm.
a ghosting. It's very
Mm-hmm.
appropriate. If a person has not called you in 2 weeks and they say they like you like that, blocking that person, in my view, is a very appropriate response.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to
Mm-hmm.
me, it is very appropriate. You know, I say isolate the person and you move forward. Huh? Or call them out. Say, I am available at this day, this time. If you do want to get together, they'll either make plans or bow out, remove themselves from the equation so that you can continue on your mission. For those of you who are looking for a partner right now, if your mission, your high goal is to create a long lasting, loving relationship, this person is blocking your efforts to do this. They're wasting
Mm-hmm.
your time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can choose to continue the little rigmarole with the shenanigans of every 2 weeks you call, or 1 week, or every 2 days, or whatever. And you do the little, what do you call it? What you're doing, WYD, or or they send you videos with nobody's name attached. There's no story attached to the videos. I was reading the other day that people do this, but there's a reason they're sending it. They're just sending a blank video because they've probably sent it to 20 other people. You're not
Absolutely.
special. You're not special. So this person is not trying to create any special situation with you. And you have to see these things. I think a lot of us have a lot of faith for no reason. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
naivete, because it puts you at risk of other people really harming you
Mm-hmm.
emotionally if they're not on the same page with you.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to protect yourself, not the other person. Or
Yeah.
you can say yes to being part of their stable, part of their harem, part of their rotation. It's up to
Mm-hmm.
you. You have every right to be part of
Mm-hmm.
a group of other people that they're trying to form whatever's with. But if
Exactly.
that's not your objective, you have to be willing to say, I appreciate the approach, but please make your departure.
Or say, we aren't on the same page.
We're not.
What I want, you've already shown me that you don't.
It's clear.
You take good care. That's Marcia's favorite line. You take good care.
It's okay. It's
It,
okay.
and here's the thing though, in that you can't be afraid to have moments alone. You can't be afraid
And even if you're
to
afraid, you better do it afraid, honey.
and be afraid with you. But here's the other thing. If you are allowing someone in your space that's not supposed to be there, they're damming up
They're
your
blocking you. They're
potential
blocking.
one.
Yeah.
Why give them that?
That's
You're preparing yourself for your great thing, your
yeah.
great relationship, right?
Yeah.
But you're stuck with this Rudy Poo that has told you in so many countless ways, I don't want more.
I think for me, the most dangerous part of that give and take thing, hot and cold thing, that
Mm-hmm.
breadcrumbing, is that it's if you're not paying attention,
Mm-hmm.
it'll come to, like how you said, the Israelites, and how the bread turned to mold, because it rewires your nervous system in a way to where you begin to think that inconsistent little pieces, less than, is okay. It's such a violation of the human spirit.
Mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
am so much more comfortable if a person says, I am not seeing you like that right now. I'm busy. I don't think I want to be in a relationship right now. Or I'm dating many other people. You're not the only one. Just clear, honest, direct
But you
communication.
know the reason why
But
people
this,
don't?
I know, but
Because they felt the sting of rejection. So they never
mm,
want anyone to feel that sting. Here's the truth: if you are lowering your standards
yeah, yeah,
to protect somebody else's feelings, you've
yeah,
already counted yourself out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's
Aren't you worth
important to
it
make
though?
your stand. You got to make your stand and declare your boundaries. It's not a bad thing. Setting boundaries, good fences make for good neighbors. That way, the
Mm.
neighbor is not just, their dog is not sort of running into your yard and pooping in your yard. You understand?
Mm-hmm,
There
mm-hmm,
are fences there. You know, okay, I
mm-hmm.
don't like this. I don't like that. I feel safer.
Yeah.
This, and we have to be courageous enough to take responsibility for our safety as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to expecting some other human being will take care of us. No, you got to learn how to take care of yourself first, I think.
And that the foundation of that is self-love.
Self love.
When you
Self
love you,
love.
you're not waiting for anybody else to validate your greatness.
Yeah,
You're not waiting for anybody else to give you permission to
yeah,
be your truth. When you love you,
yeah.
people have to meet you at your standard.
At your standard, or if they don't, that means you are not compatible, and it's okay. It is okay. That means you're just not a good fit.
Mm-hmm.
If their standard is lower than yours, all that
Mm.
means is we are not compatible. I just need somebody who is at this level, and it is
Yes.
okay. It's okay.
Here's what I want to challenge you to do tonight. Sit down and write a statement of your worth,
Clear statement.
a clear statement of your worth and your value. And then use that as your poster child, as an introduction. You know your 30-second elevator speech?
Yeah.
Speak your worth. Don't be afraid to tell people what your expectations are in a relationship,
Because they are yours.
and you owe them to you. If you set yourself in a position of love, people have no choice but to come that way.
No choice. Or fall off
Mm.
and
And
open
you
up
know, it's so easy
a
for
real deal.
Marcia to be like, bruh, like deuces. Because when you know your truth, you're not waiting for somebody else to speak it.
Yeah.
You've already passed the belonging to self-actualization.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, when we don't do that, like Petra says, we put our own peace of mind at risk.
Ooh,
Now, how
yes.
self abusive is that? Why would I put myself at risk of mental torture,
Mm.
mental torment? And all of us know it. I mean, you were a teenager looking at the phone, waiting by the phone. We used to have the old phones back in the day, waiting. Will they call? Now you're at your smartphone as an adult waiting for another human being to text you. That's not your person.
Listen, let me help some of y'all out. Get your pen and paper. Some
It's
of
not.
the things on your absolutes need to be effective communication,
Yes.
emotionally available, minimize texting,
Yes. I know, right? Have a proper conversation with me.
not grouping you in. Well, everybody, we're grown.
Make it special. Is this a special connection we're building?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Those are absolutes.
Yeah.
Of course, things like no domestic violence and things of that nature as well. But those are some staple absolutes in your relationship.
Absolutely.
Absolute not. I will not tolerate someone with demeaning language.
There you go.
I will not tolerate someone that is blatantly disrespecting my desires, my needs, because I've communicated them with them. I
Absolutely.
will not tolerate any form of identity of abuse.
Absolutely.
Flexibilities, you work days, I work nights, we come somewhere in between and communicate.
Yeah.
That's what a flexibility looks like. You all
Yeah.
need to work on your list and then create your sales pitch.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Marcia. It's a pleasure to meet you. Here's some things since you asked about me. I am a communicator. I love to hear other people's story, but I also want to be heard.
Yeah.
I want someone who knows how to be emotionally available. Are you?
Yeah.
What's your relationship like with your mom and them, dad and them children now? Can
Mama.
you show up for yourself?
Yeah.
See, people are afraid to have those actual conversations. Well, I just want somebody. Well, you just want to waste your time.
I just want somebody who's not clear enough because somebody will show up.
Listen,
Somebody will
the
show up.
Bible, the Bible real clear.
It's very
Write the
clear.
vision, make the plain. Those that read it can run with it. Boom, there you go.
That's it. It's that simple.
It's so very simple.
It's that simple.
You
So what?
know,
Go
mhm.
ahead. Say
No,
this,
go
and I
ahead,
want you
because
to
I'll get excited. Go ahead.
look. What I want us to start talking about in a sec are resources. How can we change our brain? Because
Mm.
a lot of that kind of wiring is from
Hmm.
childhood, and a
Okay.
lot of inconsistencies from our parental figures kind of wired us and prepped us for these kinds of
Hmm.
inconsistent relationships. Can you heal that, and
You
how?
you can heal that. So one of the first things I'm going to automatically suggest hypnotherapy, because
Yeah,
we need to find out where this abuse to yourself started.
absolutely.
Where and I said abuse to yourself, but really the maladaptive responses to how you're being treated
Hmm.
by
Yeah,
yourself,
you're
right?
right. Because when a person treats you poorly, you should be able to use your words to say, you have a right to do that, but
Hmm.
that doesn't feel good for me. I want it in a different way.
So we need to actually tap into and think of it like a garden. When you go to your local store and you grab some seeds, you know what's in the package, but
Yeah.
what you don't know is what's in the ground already.
Yes,
And
yes.
if you go ahead and plant those seeds without tilling the ground, removing the weeds and things of that nature, you'll find that your seeds are going to begin to choke
Yeah.
because all the weeds that were unattended to.
Grow up with it.
Exactly. Hypnotherapy will actually allow you to till that ground,
Mm-hmm.
get you to a place where you can begin to open the subconscious and talk about where this started for you.
Mm-hmm.
Once hypnotherapy opens that, then therapy can come right in. And what did I write? I said hypnotherapy will address any underlying acceptance of mistreatment.
Yeah. It will.
Individual Individual therapy will help you to develop effective coping skills,
Yeah.
and life coaching will enhance your empowerment.
Boom.
When you are giving yourself the permission to get healed for you,
Mm-hmm.
to identify where your stuff started at regarding relationship, you then become empowered to receive and give love. That's the ultimate goal. That's the
Really.
purpose for relationships, so that you can do life with somebody
Yeah.
that loves you the way you love them,
Yeah.
that accepts you the way you accept them, and that you're growing together.
Yeah.
That's relationship.
Absolutely. Oh, anything else is faux.
Oh,
Like Marcia said earlier, it's faux, it's
yeah.
false. Anything
Hmm.
else is kind of like a substitute. It's not the real thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not
Exactly.
the real thing.
You
Yeah,
want to,
yeah,
if you don't take anything else from tonight, take your value back, your worth back. You don't deserve unreciprocated relationships.
That's right. That's
You
right.
don't deserve unloved relationships.
Yeah.
You deserve to have the desires of your heart met.
Yeah.
And in
Absolutely.
order to do that, you got to tap into you first.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful way for us to wrap up tonight.
Yeah.
I want to offer you guys one book that's really a powerful book. It's life changing. Well, I'm going to offer you three books. The first one is called Codependent No More. That
Mm,
it's been around for years and years and years and years, and it teaches. I mean, almost every therapist will be able to tell you, yeah, yeah, think about this book, Codependent No More. Okay,
mm, mm.
you can get it on Amazon. I want you to look out because I want to invite Marcia again on very close to the launching of her book. She's launching her book on September 11. So I want to invite her right around there so y'all can get your copies as well. Okay. Marcia, can you tell us a little bit about the book? Just a little snippet. Just
Yes, yes, yes. So the book is entitled Making Progress in the Process to Fulfill Your Purpose. It literally begins with a discussion about Maslow's hierarchy of life. And then it goes into where the book ends with the last chapter entitled I Love Me Again.
yes. Oh,
Really honing in on the importance of seeing and valuing yourself, being able to let things go that no longer serve you, getting to a place where you understand your purpose, having a process, and making the progress so you can live your authentic truth.
yes. Your
So,
authentic truth.
yes, there are some gems in there, some authentic original poems by me
Yeah.
as well. There are um, some areas in there where I'll challenge you to write your vision, to sit in silence with yourself,
Yes.
to learn to hear the innermost parts of who you are so you can understand your purpose. And then I'll challenge you to live and not just exist.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
so excited for this book to
I'm
come
excited
out.
too. I'm
Yeah.
excited too because I know how powerful you are as a therapist.
Oh,
So I'm really looking forward to reading your thoughts on page.
thank you.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And
Surprisingly, I'm working on the next one already.
let's go, let's go, let's go.
You'll like this topic. The title of that book is "Tell Your Past to Go to Hell."
Ooh,
I
okay.
am I am working on that as we speak because the making progress. I call it the PPPs. You talked
Yes,
about the cover with the crossroads. That's what
yes,
we're talking about. Is that progress, process, and purpose? The
yes.
printer is printing copies as we speak.
Very nice, very nice.
You will be able to purchase on Amazon. You'll be able to purchase on all of those outlets, Barnes and Nobles. I am working to get it on Audible.
Yes,
That is my goal. The publisher and the marketing team was like, we're going to make this a bestseller, hit the bestseller list.
yes,
I've learned that on Amazon, if you sell 100 copies, you'll hit the bestseller list and that'll keep pushing it going. So that is a goal to
yes,
get it out there. I told someone that my goal is to touch 200,000 souls
yes,
through everything that I do across the board and helping people to really tap into their authentic truth and to be their absolute best self in
yeah,
all things. Yeah.
yeah. Y'all, I really hope you look out for that book. I am going to encourage you to do it now. Do the change that you know you require now. Why? Because tomorrow is not yours. Tomorrow is not promised to you. Okay?
Nobody.
To
Mm-hmm.
none of us. And there is a reason you are still alive. There's a
Woo.
reason you are still here. And I know you have those secret dreams. I know you have
Mm-hmm.
those secret wishes and desires. Some of them you've started working on already, and some of them you haven't yet. Okay, I want to recommend my book, Do It Now,
Do
to
it now.
support you. It's a
Yes.
7-step plan to get from beginning to end, and to get from beginning to end well. Okay,
Yes.
so you have
Yes.
books to read, you have Codependent No More. Marcia, will you remind us of your title? Please type it
Mm-hmm.
in the chat for us too.
I was just looking to see if it let me
Making,
type in the chat.
making
Uh,
progress.
Making progress in the process to fulfill your purpose.
You hear that?
If you jump over to Marcia Blane on Facebook, it's all out there. There is an upcoming empowerment summit in October. If you're in the Atlanta area, I encourage you to come on out, get your soul right at the
Making
empowerment, making
progress
progress
in
in the process
process
to fulfill your purpose.
to fulfill your
Your purpose.
purpose. Okay?
And then there's also my journal that's already out there.
What's the name of the
Um, it
journal?
is Peculiar One Guided Journal.
And that one is with a one, right?
No, it's
How
actually
many?
it's the number. I mean, the word one is spelled out.
Okay.
So it's the
One
Peculiar One Guided Journal,
guided
and it's
journal.
you no longer fit in the box. But that one's out on Amazon as well. You can grab that today if you want an autograph copy. Shoot me a direct message. The journal is $15. You shoot me a direct message. It'll be on its way to you with an autograph signature. I will be autographing books on the 11th. If you haven't, jump over to YouTube, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Authentically Peculiar with Marcia. Grab those 5-minute meditations every morning by 6 a.m. You are getting 5 minutes of meditation, focus, uplifting. I'm telling you all, we have got to arm ourselves
Yes.
with
Yes.
the right stuff
Yes.
so that we don't have to position ourselves to be breadcrumbed,
Yeah.
manipulated,
Mm.
abused, abnormally used. I don't care about who.
Okay. Look.
Yes.
And so I'm going to wrap this up with 5 signs of breadcrumbing in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship as described by Psychology Today. Okay? Number 1, an emotional roller coaster and uncertainty. The target, more than likely you, tends to feel mostly disappointed with occasional bursts of false hope. Number
Mm-hmm.
2, relationship dependence. The breadcrumber, the person who's calling every 2 weeks or every once in a while putting a WD in their text for you to reel you back in, may show interest and attentiveness only when they want something, your time, your affection, your support, your advice, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be money or something tangible. Number 3, waiting and surrendering power. The target, more likely than not you, is often waiting for the breadcrumber to text, to call, or to follow through on a promise. Yeah, I'm going to call you back. You've looked up, it's 5 months. They ain't called you back yet. Number 4, feeling manipulated and also simultaneously being in denial because you're
Mm-hmm.
still hoping and waiting. Most targets know in their hearts that they're being led on and strung along, and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
But very often they don't even say anything about it. Yeah? Because as soon as that person texts or call, everything is all is well with the world again. And 5, loneliness and emptiness, because what's happening, like Marcia just said, you've blocked now your opportunities to go on and explore other people as potential mates because you're there waiting for that little crumb.
Mm.
Yeah?
Mm.
Relationships with a breadcrumber are almost never healthy or fulfilling. So you have every right to continue a relationship with a breadcrumber if you want. I would encourage you to make a different choice. I would encourage you to open yourself up to the world of opportunities and potential fabulous mates who are meeting your standard.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Oh
All
my
right?
goodness.
Okay, y'all. Marcia, thank you so, so, so,
Thank
so much.
you. Thank you. Thank you. You all listen, please, please, please Take in the gems and the jewels that was dropped tonight.
Mhm.
Live your absolute best life. You deserve that.
Absolutely.
Don't be Hansel and drop the breadcrumbs looking for a way out.
Okay. So Marcia will type her YouTube link when we get off the chat. They want
Okay.
your YouTube link.
Okay.
Um, what is it? I can actually type it for you before you go.
It is, I'm actually going to the page. I will drop it in the comments. Give me
She'll
30
drop it in the
seconds.
comments for you, Faye Dashin. You are very welcome. Y'all, thank you all so much for showing up and participating for almost 2 hours with
I
us.
know. I
Yeah.
told somebody earlier, I was like, we never get out of 2 hours. We're going to hit that 2 hour mark every time. But you know what? It's good. And it's good conversation.
Yeah.
It's healing conversation.
Yeah.
And I am so excited that you all keep showing up
Yes.
on Trauma Therapy Thursdays.
Absolutely.
This is one of the best platforms out there. Spread the word, you all.
Like
Get
and
people
share.
to come in, like, share. Go
Mhm.
to Dr. Triphi's page,
Mhm.
subscribe. She has so much wisdom, y'all. Come on, just get it out there. Support. It takes nothing to support. It doesn't cost you a nickel to like and
Mhm.
subscribe. Get it out
All
there.
right. So I'll see you all soon. Have a lovely evening.
Have a good
Bye,
evening.
Marcia.